I find it very interesting to look at something and imagine what its next life would become. Given my interest in mobility, I've always looked at structures that are outside of architecture that move. Part of my thinking has to do with, the nature of being human and what does that entail. To some degree, we have this desire to hold memory, and often our memories are stored in our attics because they are kind of embedded within the objects that we own. But now memory can just be stored on a hard drive, so we can dispose or do away with the collection of stuff and live more lightly. As humans, I really feel like, we were not meant to be sedentary. Constantly when I travel, I'm always drawn to the people that are building with makeshift construction pieces or using wheels in unusual ways. And I looked further and further into that and found that there's an incredible history of mobile lifestyles, and it became my passion. Recently, I took an old truck trailer and craned it in over my house and attached it to the back, a structure that might not be roadworthy anymore, and rethought how I could skin it, how I could create openings in it, and make a contribution to a dwelling that then could also be moved and relocated as needed. I get really excited when I'm driving down the freeway and I see a truck go by, and I immediately start to fantasize about how that could become part of a house, or it could become, a mobile library. There's a tremendous amount of industrial materials that are out in the landscape that can be redeployed in a variety of different ways. And for example, the shipping container is a terrific example. I'm not spending energy on creating it from scratch, but I'm repurposing it for another use. The Joshua Tree Prefab is a modular home, sits out on the desert floor, and is a fully self-sufficient structure where it is not attached to the electrical grid and is not attached to the water system. It is a very simple building that is really meant to allow you to sleep, to eat, and to relax, that then can be moved from location to location at the snap of a finger. I would say that, there absolutely is a movement that is pervasive throughout this country where people are looking to be able to create their environments without having rules thrust upon them. Within that thinking, there's a difference in terms of scale. So it's less about bigger is better and more about, smaller is smarter. And that is connected to the dwelling that we have around us. So, the less stuff we have, the lighter the materials are, the smarter they become, the less encumbered we become as people. The buildings that I create are not large, and yet they have a sense of volume to them. They have natural light, they have ceilings that tend to be higher than conventional houses, so that you feel expansive in terms of height, but not necessarily in terms of width. If you can look outside and be connected to a natural environment outside, you are expanding your space, visually, but not necessarily physically. Innately as a human being, we are nomadic and we're mobile and we're curious. And we will always be, exploring, whether it's here in the desert or whether it's, out in space or in the ocean. We can't just let that go.